representative of NICO is here with us right here. Please round of applause for him. And we also have here with us Amara Chikochi Mega, who is also going to be on the panel, I guess. So please round of applause for everyone also. Please, once again, everyone is special, and I'd like you to know that you are all welcome. Right about now, we're going to be moving to the keynote address. Peculiar. We're going to be moving on to the keynote address, where we're going to be introducing our keynote person. But before we do that, I'd like to read to us a citation for everyone to listen. So, Professor Daniel Sunday Izebaya, known and called by his academic colleagues and close friends as Dan, is a globally acknowledged talent in the field of historical and textual analysis of pre- and post-colonial African literature. He emerged on the academic scene at Independence, on board at UI in 1962 as an undergraduate. He got done with his first degree in English in 1965 as the only first-class student of the department. He had the faculty prize for the year in Ibadan. Professor Mahood, the Oxonian departmental health head, deliberately obtained Cambridge and London assessors to affirm Dan's first-class quality output before the confirmation of the Senate with degree award burden. Professor Dan, born in Kaduna, finished his PhD in 1968 within 3 years of first degree attainment. Academic vocation inevitably became his forte. Rapid promotion and appointment followed. He became head of department, faculty dean and provost of the College of Arts, Social Science and Law. He was thereafter sophomore in 1966 as the vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan. Unarguably, Dan is a gentleman in soul and heart. In mien and communication, he exudes virtue. His being continually soft-spoken and non-abrasive is neither shyness nor self-effacement. His success in various management positions in the university has since confirmed that leadership and sustained politeness are mutually helpful in getting results. Dan bears all the time the burden of value. And so please, with a standing ovation, let's honor him, please. We can all do this together, and a round of applause. Please, let's make welcome Emeritus Professor Danny Divine as he comes to give us the keynote address. Yes, please, can you help him up? Please, let's continue to clap.
This has to be recorded. Good.
Thank you. Let me begin in a very informal way. I prepared a formal paper because I thought it would be the conference type paper and audience. But I then saw when I came in that there are a lot of students interested. Actually, this paper has a funny history. I wrote it first as a paper for upper secondary school students. Then the organizer said, no, the students will have their day. But those who want to wait can wait. So at the last minute, I tried to convert it to a more formal one. Now it has turned out to be a hybrid one. But there is something in the paper, so I will concede to the students by summarizing. But there is something I retained from the original paper, the epigraph. I thought I would spring a surprise on the students and ask one of them to come and read my epigraph, which is suitable for rap music. But that did not happen. So I'll just read it, since many of them are still here. It's what I call an Ibadan. You know, the knowledge people, the title of the name of the organization already caused the problem. Noah Black. Noah Ledge.
I don't know it.
Ibadan pronouncement on knowledge.
Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Don't use
So,
use
knowledge
the
of
messages.
black
Allow
people.
it to be stable first.
That's a fine, profound way of describing yourself. So I thought, why not? Let's
In
take
church, I'm
what
not the one
they
I gave you. It's
said
church that I gave you.
forward. Iba Festival. Iba means both Ibadan as well as homage in Yoruba. So, why don't I go ahead and I wrote this thing which would have been appropriate for rap performance, rap music. But after writing it, when I went back to try to convert what I wrote for students into a keynote address, malaria hit me. And what is the name, Yoruba name for malaria? Iba. So I knew I was inviting problems by accepting to do the paper. So I told the malaria spirit, sorry, this talking about Iba is not invoking you, it's not. So it left me alone. That's the background to what I'm going to read now. That is what was originally meant for secondary school students. At least they would have something when I read the rest of the paper. The reason it's written this way is you know, of course, what Yoruba, Oriki, and other poetic forms do. Play on words. And take this carefully because behind it is Ibadan, the Ibadan story, the history of Ibadan. From forests for feasts and fuel. I'll start again. From forests for feasts and fuel. Farm for fruit, for food after fasting. Field for fights, and your farewell to a field festival and its feud. Fled fast to Ibadan for its metamorphosis from Ibadan into Ibadan, the traditional and cosmopolitan city and culture capital, a celebration. Then I signed it, èmi ni àlejò yín tòótọ́, since it's a letter to Ibadan. But as I said, this was meant for the secondary school students. Don't worry, I will summarize when I finish reading the paper. It's important for me to read the paper so that I don't take too much time just talking. I start with publishing festivals and catching up with the digital age. May I begin by thanking Mr. Sergio Gradamosi and the team of the Ibadan Book and Arts Festival for inviting me to give this talk. I'm also grateful to the Institute of African Studies and its scholars and researchers, especially Professor Dele Laiwo and Professor Laolu Senanyo, for their support. I should say that my concern in this talk is not so much information and knowledge, but food for thought. Although information is necessary for that purpose. One of the ascriptions of Mr. Badamasi is that of publisher. I congratulate him for his entrepreneurial courage in directly confronting the challenge of a changing industry. This project should encourage all men and women of goodwill who are able to give him and his team and his company all the material and psychological encouragement that is needed for their project. His initiative needs a lot. First, because the presence of major printing and publishing houses in Ibadan has been an important lifeline to the city's literary culture. And second, because throughout the history of its changing technology, well, let me just summarize this fact. I was saying that the reason knowledge has to be supported is because technology has been changing. And that poses a danger not only to publishing, but to the publishing culture. And that will affect the rest of us, as you will see later when I resume reading the paper. How will it affect the rest of us? Because the literary culture actually has gone at the center of literature and everything connected to literature like art, fine art, sculpture, music and so forth. At the center is the artist, the author, the painter. When he has produced, he passes it on to the one who will bring it out and distribute. That's where the publisher comes in. When the technology changes, publishing for that age is in danger. And if publishing is in danger, then the culture, the community is in danger. And in that paper, maybe I will read it eventually, but this is necessary for the young one, for the students. It means that publishing is not just writing, it's not just putting together, printing, putting together. I'll quote from the Bible. Samuel. Says Samuel. No, I think it's Second Samuel. When David was lamenting, he says he has heard his very close friend has died. He says in the King James Version, publish it not. Don't tell people that Jonathan has died because the world has come to an end. Publish it not. So, the one who goes out, sent by the Oba or by the Baale, to go and announce certain things to the community, it's a publisher. And in that version, it then says, broadcast it. So the broadcaster and the publisher are doing the same thing. They are spreading the message to everybody in the community. So the function of the publisher, the function of the broadcaster is to pass the information out, to broadcast it. That is one meaning of publishing. It then means two things for the publisher. One, he must pass the message as exactly as he is told to pass it. He mustn't, you can decorate it, you can make it attractive, you can draw. If you look at the old early books, the Bible and the Quran, the very early ones, they are full of flowers. They draw flowers to make the word attractive. But one thing they will not do, one thing that is anathema, they will not change the message. If it says don't steal, they will not say, oh, don't, unless you are hungry, don't steal. Because that's not the message. They don't add, they don't subtract. The publisher has a very important point. Because you all know, and those in secondary school, if you don't know, you will know now that there are things called printers level. If the publisher is not careful, the devil in printing will come and change what he has done by not printing exactly what he said. Maybe he has mistyped a word and that kind of thing. Those of you who use handsets to send messages, you must know this. If your dictionary, if your phone or your tablet has a dictionary to correct your spelling, when you mistype, it can bring out a different word from what you think. So the publisher has a big responsibility, one, to ensure that the message presented as it is. Then his problem is because of that problem, he may get into big financial problems with technology. That has been discussed just now. So I won't, as we are sitting, so I won't go into AI. Those who are excited at AI have made things easy. Don't know that the world has a problem to solve at the end of it. Because AI will do two things, or three if you are African. One, it will make you lazy. You won't walk. And all the scriptures, the Christian, Islam, teach us walk. What we quote in verse. He who would not walk should not eat. We are told what is essential. Now, AI teaches us not to walk. You are given an essay, oh, just go to AI. It will do it for you. Now, one philosopher many years ago warned that teaching people to write literacy so that they can store information will soon start teaching people not to learn how to remember. Why are competitions for memory and recital important? The Muslims have it, reciting the Quran. The Christians have it. Why is it important? Because We didn't heed Plato's warning. We took to writing and keep diary and store things. Even when you want to go shopping, you make a shopping list. It's too difficult to remember 8 items, so you don't forget to write them down. Therefore, technology, AI, and other things is a danger to community. And not just young. All of us have to be alert to see how to, as one of the speakers said earlier on, keep our humanity, not be turned into machines obeying AI. Last point about AI, and I think, as I said, except that the students are here, I shouldn't be talking. I should just read my text and read. But the last point, AI, what it does and what you need to control is how to retain your humanity, how to remain human beings, so that you don't become robots like our own creation. I think at that point, I should return to my text. I have just talked about industry, and what I talked about, I hope the staff of knowledge are also listening. The industry is threatened. It's okay to ask people to go and buy books. Some of them will simply order on Amazon or some other thing, and then have it on their tablet. This can take a complete Bible, a complete Quran, the dictionary of the English language, Johnson's history of Yoruba, and all that. Just this. I can almost put it in my pocket. Then, in my days, a bookshop is a very attractive thing, and hardly pass by. It contains magic in books. Now go to a bookshop. The bookshop will be lucky to have 3 or 4 people at the same time. Everybody is going to the tablet. That is the challenge that ought to be faced. Let me finish reading just this part, and then I'll go to the next topic. This is on publishing and the challenges, the functions and the challenges. Down the ages, the word has passed on to future generations through the organ of the spoken, written, carved, printed, and electronic word. And I cite Neil Oshindare's argument in his Merit Award lecture titled Poetry and the Human Voice. Let me summarize this, it will save me reading everything else. And what he says in Poetry and the Human Voice is simple. The primary form of communication is the voice. The medium of the voice is the tongue. Everything else is just human manufacture. What is everything else? We started human beings by having messages on tablet, stone. Then we went on to use clay. Then we turned an Egyptian plant called papyrus into paper and wrote on it until we learned to make paper and print. Now we don't need printing anymore. It's done electronically. That's the argument. That's what I have just read. So the tongue goes on, but it's still the primary one. Let me now go to the next topic, the background to the cultural festival. What is this background? I think to save time, I will just talk most of the time instead of reading. The organizers have the paper so that I can communicate. What is the background to this festival? There are now two types of festival. The first type was the one organized in May in Awolowo Stadium, just before the coronation of the Ibadan. That's the first, and that is a cultural festival. The second type is the one we have here now. The two festivals are not really different. One is a Kehinde, one is a Taiwo. Now it's up to you to decide which is Kehinde and Taiwo. But it doesn't give them any privilege. It's just that they are doing the same thing, projecting the culture. The two festivals, the one organized by the Central Indigenous of Ibadan citizens, that's the one in the Awolowo Stadium. The one being organized now is a book and art festival. It takes a narrow part of culture. The Ibadan citizens festival takes celebrates and affirms the achievement of Ibadan. So, although they are both called festivals, they focus on the same thing. Second point I want to make about Ibadan and organizing that festival, before I come to the local one, is that the community and the culture is the host of all artistic cultures, literary culture, literary festival, festival of arts, festival of knowledge, and so forth. Ibadan is the host. What does the host do? It feeds. It feeds the guest or those it is taken care of. And then it becomes the midwife. It is both host and midwife. Let me come down a bit to explain what this means. So, festivals celebrate the achievements of communities and groups that do things that will benefit it. At the last festival in Awolowo Stadium in May, the festival was a confirmation and a celebration of Ibadan and its achievement. The type of festival that you are celebrating now, and it is right that they brought it to the University of Ibadan Conference Center, celebrates what happened at its best in Nigeria at the University of Ibadan. The University College Ibadan became host to a group of students who were so brilliant that when they appeared before the world stood and listened and watched. Let me be specific. One of them wrote the poem that is often referred to, Ground Roofs of Ibadan. and the contrast with the glittering modern roofs. J.P. Clark was a student at the University of Ibadan when he wrote that poem. And who were his classmates or classmates? Achebe, Okibo, Wale Soyinka. Who in the world has not heard of Wale Soyinka? He or she must be living alone in Siberia, not in contact with anybody else. It all started in Ibadan University College. So the University College was host and midwife to creative writers who would make an impact at the level of the world. So in fact, Achebe, who has not had their name, they are taught in courses in England, in America, and so forth. And I remember many years ago, I won't say the year because of the way I was introduced. I won't say which year, so I don't say the place nor what. But many years ago, a visitor came from Japan to do research on African literature, and he was sent to my office, and we talked, and he gave me a copy, which I couldn't read, of his translation of Things Fall Apart into Japanese. I treasure it. I'm going to donate it to a library, but I can't read a word of it, although I know what it is about. So their works have been translated. That makes the second point. Remember the first one about publishing, why it's essential to a culture or a community. The second one, the festival organizers, usually those who host and midwife the products, the gifted products among them. Now, what do I have to say about Ibadan? It is something that most of you already know, but said for a certain reason. I won't give in the audience. I will just leave it in the paper. The publishers have the paper. What I have to say is, what is it that made Ibadan such a great city? And I was trying to trace how it happened and why it happened. It's not the facts, not the history. I will mention the history, most of you will know it. It is part of the Ibadan I read about forest, about field, about farm, and about Ibadan. You know it, but I can summarize just in case there are visitors who have not spent much time here. The Yoruba wars caused by for many reasons. Actually, it's important I should summarize this because the government made the mistake of stopping history teaching. So I have to say to my grandson, who is just about to start learning history, they did do a disservice. Do listen carefully to the history teaching. And history is important. So I have to say it even when they know it. Yorubas had this war for various reasons. Partly because the great empire at the time, the Oyo Empire, was collapsing. The Fulanis wanted to turn all of us into Muslims, and they would be the rulers, the emirs, and they were being resisted. They conquered Ilorin and took over Ilorin. So the emir of Ilorin is always a Fulani man. Always a Fulani man. The reason that government stopped history teaching is partly partly so that these sensitive points of our early history will not be misunderstood and misused. But they took it on, and all the Oyo fell. And they allowed as the people moved to their present site. Then the Ibadan army, that's one of the great things they did in the past, said, well, this can't happen. And they confronted the Fulani at the border in Oshobo and defeated the Fulani, which is a major achievement because the Fulani were on horses and the Oyo people were mainly foot soldiers. But they defeated the Fulani, stopped them from advancing to the sea. Now that shook the empire, the whole area, which is now the southwest. And all kinds of fighting for supremacy, all kinds of alliances. I won't go into details. The Kitiparapo, the people from Ijebu, the war in Kiriji and so forth, all kinds of fighting took place. And that was how Ibadan emerged as an empire. When they announced that the Oba, the newly crowned Oba, who was a former governor, is now to be called Imperial. They weren't far wrong. Many of us personally think that Nigerians shouldn't bother with all these Oyibo titles. They should just use our own names. The press names, they keep. But they decided to, so we have all over the globe, Majesty and so forth. And your law said those who are there, Ibadan, people said those who are bearing Majesty. Don't remember that after Oyo, we are the next great empire. That's why they call him now Imperial. In other words, Oyo stopped Fulani. And with the fighting going on, Ibadan stopped the Fulani. And with the fighting going on, it was up to Ibadan to welcome those who are afraid of what the war will do to them. So all refugees from Ogbomoso, from Ibadan, from Ijebu and so forth, Abeokuta came to Ibadan. And they had warlords. The hills are named after them, welcoming them and organizing a new society. As a result of this, two things happened. One, Ibadan, I'm summarizing now, became cosmopolitan. What is meant by cosmopolitan? Cosmopolitan comes from the word cosmos, which means the world. Just as metropolitan means something to do with the city. Just as city itself has to do with the people in a town. So cosmos means the world. It means a place where different people from different parts of the world can be found. Not many cities are cosmopolitan. I won't give examples because some of you may be from that, but there's nothing wrong with being from a village, nothing wrong. But I won't give examples. But Oyo is the place where you will find people like me, who is not, Ibadan. People like me who is not from Ibadan, who has no link with Ibadan. My children are not married to Ibadan. But I like Ibadan. And I have Ibadan friends. And they like me, want me to stay. In other countries they say Ajeju and treat me that way. But Ibadan does not. That's what it meant by cosmopolitan. Why is it cosmopolitan? Because it welcomed refugees. It didn't ask questions. They rushed to Ibadan, they welcomed them, and they became indigenous. That was why, when the white man came and colonized different parts of Nigeria and put them together into one country, he noticed the cosmopolitan nature of Ibadan, and therefore made it the capital for the whole of the area, the West, not just the Southwest. What was in the West? West of the Niger, if you remember your map, it included Asaba, it included Warri, down through Benin, Akure, Ondo, up to Ekiti, and down to the south, to Lagos. Except for Lagos, everywhere else, he made Ibadan the capital. Why would he have given the reason? It was becoming cosmopolitan. And when they wanted to build a university for the region, what place did they pick? Not Kaduna, not Sokoto, not Port Harcourt, Ibadan. And they weren't just building any university. It was to serve other countries. It was to serve Cameroon and so forth. It was linked to the University of London. Now, when the university developed, it had brilliant students. It had brilliant students from different parts of the country. And these are the ones that I mentioned earlier because the University College hosted them and produced, they came from Cameroon, from Maiduguri, and so forth, and then it produced these students. That's the second point posted. I mentioned one, role of the publisher, two, role of the sponsor or context, that is, in this case, Ibadan, as well as the University College. I will now go to three. The culture and its challenges. What festival do we support or produce? Why do we support these festivals? Now, we are a multicultural country, and certain towns like Ibadan are multicultural, as I have just said. Therefore, they cannot afford to be limited to tradition. There is a Yoruba proverb which I quoted here. Many roads, one road alone cannot lead to the marketplace. That's an old proverb. Because when you go to a supermarket, you go through only one entrance. They won't let you come through any, and it's a market, supermarket, unless it's a mall. They cannot afford to let many roads to create problems. And the problem of Ibadan, it's not that it doesn't have problems. Ruffians, hooligans, of course Londoners, New Yorkers, they have. So, what that has purpose is to learn to open up to new ideas. Culture is all right. The wisdom of the old days is all right. But you have to open out to new ideas. Listen to other people. Let me make the last point. And that's the important point. What lessons are we to learn from all this? Ibadan has accumulated strangers from different parts of the country. Some of them have become indigent. You can see from the place name, Iyano, is it Iyano Isale Ijebu? Meaning that the residents there originally came from Ijebu. What lesson have we to learn?
No.
One, as the new technology takes over, AI and its affiliates, as we learn to use this technology, we must remember our own interests. We must remember to remain African and to remain human. We talked about remaining human earlier, especially for the young. You must remember where you are coming from. There is one of my favorite performances of Ibadan, which started going round. 4 young girls, they must be like maybe SS1, SS2, chanting the Oriki. And one of them, that's okay, Ibadan. One of them was brushing her phone as if it was about the phone. But the phone was a kind of chat for her. But she remembered the okay, Ibadan Oriki that the grandmother used to. Very attractive listening. That's where the future lies. Where the future does not lie. I went to a party, birthday party, somebody's 80th birthday party. And they amazed us with all these magical things. What were the magical things? One was a big teddy bear produced by Walter Disney, dancing. Why would they do that? It's so different from the Google. The teddy bear and the Google, exactly the same technology. One looks impressive because it is on the book. The other looks very beautiful. Oh, we know it comes from our compound. But why not? Because in this type of, you have people who are young, isn't it? Or who are Ogunbeni, isn't it? Blacksmiths and drummers and so. That's what the Oyibo have. So when you are taking their technology, convert it to your own use and let it present your own image, not that of the Oyibo. That's the first lesson. Second lesson, and I'll soon finish. Second lesson, we produce some of our cultural things on film. Film, the cinema is Oyibo technology. Nothing wrong with that, we can use it. We are rated as number 2 or 3 in the world in filmmaking. We compete with India to be next to Hollywood. But there's a but which makes Nollywood not worthy of our listening. Not all the films, but many. They promote the bad sides of our culture, negative side. And I hope the young ones in this audience are listening because this is mainly about them. When you go to a Hollywood film, they are talking about money, how to get money, and the magic of getting it. What magic is it? They told somebody, go and get somebody, the heart of a woman, the ear of a man, the nose of a young boy. Bring them, and I will make you rich. Because it's strange and magical, people flock to it. They are horrified. But that perpetuates the belief that you can get money by human sacrifice. This is not just using an example. Only day before yesterday was this story of this boy who took his sister and plucked out her ears. So she's permanently blind. He and his classmates plucked out her ears. Why? They want to become rich. How did he get the
I
idea?
don't know where to get anything.
He couldn't be from his parents. He couldn't be from school. He must have been watching Nollywood. So, this is an appeal, and it's not the first one. It happened in Lawrence, not long ago. It happened in the East, and in fact, it has happened in Ibadan. I was driving to Lagos one day some years ago, I think last year or the year. On the entrance, just as before you get to New Tower, no, not what it's that American road that leads on to there. Just on the road was the slaughtered human being. Slaughtered, taking out the parts they wanted, and the rest of it was only later news came of one. Have the responsibility to teach people that you cannot make money from ritual. It doesn't happen. If you can, the medicine man who told you would not be staying in where he lives. He would be in Abuja in one of the best houses. So, sacrifice does. Somebody was praying and saying to the congregation, you will make a 2-1. And I heard, Amen. After they are not students who are sitting one I'm a teacher. That's nothing happened.
Why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head? You're shaking your head for me. Why is that? I'm asking you to clap.
So don't believe in magic,
How is it
in Nollywood. All that
Unless I know
Nollywood can have
I know the app.
well,
Actually, plays
have your own defense against the now. What will I summarize about it? I have mentioned that it's a great. The main reason
let's
is
move him then.
because of its openness. And the
I'm trying
openness
to
should teach
move
each of us a lesson. Remember, I've conducted
This one is touch.
of young people. Each of us, people from
To enjoy.
the resourceful,
Come and sit.
earn what you get by your own sweat. Do what you enjoy.
Back down, my job.
As one of the speakers said, don't be forced into doing what you don't want to do. I have one of the major
Waiting room there. It should be here, not there. Where did you see it? Yeah. As well.
One of them,
Just now. When was that?
told me the daughter read his master.
ChatGPT answering
And that's
questions.
not the only kind of many
Tell me you've never cheated. Tell me you've never used ChatGPT for
you
exams.
wanted
You've never used it for tests. Assignment.
Oh, for exams, we have like, have you seen examples?
Which one?
I can
And are you okay?
one other example.
Oh, yeah.
The minister at that time when they had
Okay, you won't use it for exam.
and you know minister, that's not one day the doctor was admitted there.
What do you call it?
My transfer was
Because our exam questions
I was happy
because it's right. That's why it's actually
Wait, I think
I mean,
I thought there used to take you guys are making nice. What you just said, I thought it used to be just Nigeria. So that if you are motivating to start
yes. Once you got to university, when classes, anytime classes began, she will join the boys. We will go I said, well, what is your problem?
for you now, you are
Said,
like
well,
you are
you
very
know,
good with ChatGPT
you don't want to. So she came read English, got a 2 and the other came. She became
now she cannot pass.
and next time I saw the girl, I asked her,
You see this man left mic and he's talking to audience with his
got off the flat down wanting to so if you want to do something, don't keep quiet and end up like 2 examples. Now, just to
the
round
one
up,
he was holding, he wasn't putting it in his mouth, he just said it and was using his hand to take it.
Ibadan has been a great place.
So that was
When I was invited to read this talk, it's not the paper that I wrote that I summarized part of it.
like that, or maybe it's supposed to advance this
But
thing.
when I
Probably
heard
using
how
a
to
clip
do
mic.
this, it affects. Oh, I have not thought them at all. And the inspiration came by accept this reality. It's a great place. It has the openness that is necessary for you, that will make you fit anywhere openly. But it does mean you should not lose your African. Don't become copycat of people. Don't become just part of people. Kenya is well known all over the world. And they made a particular type of music, Afrobeat. He didn't start copying American You spoke pidgin.
Yeah, like I was. You have to go
So
outside.
he was
I want to send this.
here in Africa. There's nothing about
Yeah, so again.
congratulations for your opportunity.
So I'll take it from your dowry. Something like that.
Dowry for who could be able to do marriage. Ìwé àti marriage lọ́wọ́ yẹn.
Man is open. Let's get.
All right, please a round of applause for Prof right there. Please a round of applause for him. Please, let's give him a standing ovation for that wonderful speech right there. Let's stand up. Let's give him a round of applause. We say thank you very much. What wisdom. Thank you very much. And please, let's get seated. So please, once again, I want to appeal to everyone seated at the back. So please come to the front. Yes, please come to the front so that you can even hear better too, please. So we consider that a very important thing that you please come to the front. We can see some empty chairs. If you see an empty seat in front of you, please just kindly fill that seat so that you can also be part of it also. So once again, welcome to Ibadan Book and Arts Festival. And not to waste any more time, we are going to be just taking two goodwill messages from the Office of the Commissioner for Education. And please, with a round of applause, make welcome Ms. Ojo right here, the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Education on your state. Please, let's celebrate her. Let's celebrate her as she.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody here. I must first say congratulations to the organizer of this event. Kodira and you. And I must say a big thank you to our daddy, our grandpa, for the talk. Thank you for reminding us of some things we learned many years ago. And I believe the students who are here today, they've learned one thing or the other, even from the talk, particularly on the history of Ibadan. I'm an Ibadan girl, so I was so excited when you were just talking about it. And I believe no matter how technology is evolving, technology can never override the heart. Because technology, from my own perspective, is an offshoot of the heart. Without the heart, there will be no technology. Thank you, sir. So I just have a speech from the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, and I'll be delivering the speech. Now, just a goodwill message. He would have been here, but you know, there are many things taking his time, and many of us are outside today, representing him at one place or the other. So speech delivered by the Honorable Commissioner, speech delivered on behalf of the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Olusegun Olayiwola, at the Ibadan Book and Arts Festival 2025, held at International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. On Saturday, 25th October 2025. The special guests, the students, good afternoon. It's a great honor that I stand before you today at the inaugural edition of Ibadan Book and Art Festival as a sustainable platform that advances Nigeria's cultural leadership while strengthening Oyo State's position on the global cultural map. I like what Prof said concerning Nollywood. Of late, I became a friend of Bollywood. I was always watching their films. There's something I learned there. Evils never go unpunished. They so carve their world in such a way that from the onset you know that this person that is doing bad will never make a way out of being bad. And I just believe Nollywood will learn something from that. That they should stop promoting evil. They should stop promoting negativity. So that a 17-year-old, I was just telling my colleagues that what would a 17-year-old be looking for in money? Kí ló fẹ́ fowó ṣe? Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́. This festival is not just an event, it is a meeting point of ideas, cultures, and voices. Books have always been more than ink or paper. They are windows into worlds we may never visit, conversation with minds we may never meet, and lessons that last across generations. Through books, we learn, we dream, and we grow. But today, we celebrate not only books, but also the arts. We celebrate the colors, we celebrate the readings, and the expressions that bring human experience to life. Arts give shape to what words sometimes cannot capture. Together, books and art create a harmony that speaks directly to the soul, reminding us that creativity is at the very heart of being human. Creativity is at the very heart of being human. And what you said again about AI, recently we were given an assignment, and the person that was working with us said was, let's use ChatGPT. I said, no, think first. Think first. When you think first, bring up your idea, compare your idea with whatever you are going to get on AI or chat, whatever, and try to see and bring out the best. Reminding us that creativity is the heart of, very heart of human being. This festival is also a reminder of the importance of preserving our culture, promoting literacy, and encouraging creativity in young minds. Prof has reminded us that today, when a child picks up a book, when a community supports its artists, we are investing in a future filled with innovation, empathy, and understanding. So, as we gather here, let us celebrate the authors. Let's celebrate the poets, the painters, the musicians, the dancers, and all the creative spirits who make our world brighter. Let us also remember that a festival like this is not just about consuming art, but also about inspiring us to create, to write, to paint, and to share our own stories. I wish some children from my church can come here. We have a 7, she started writing at 7, and her books have been published. She's about 12 or 13 now. She has about 3 books already. I wish she could also come here and just to experience this atmosphere. She would have loved it. I hope the organizer will remember next year to invite people like that. Young poets, young authors, young writers, young dancers, so as to encourage them. In closing, I sincerely, on behalf of the Honorary Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, want to acknowledge the organizer of this festival and encourage everyone present here today that we should open our hearts and minds during this festival. We should explore new books, engage with art, connect with one another, and live inspired to keep the flame of creativity burning in our own way. Long live Ibadan Fest. Long live Oyo State. Long live Nigeria. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Please a round of applause for her. Thank you very much. And not to waste any more time, please, as you continue to clap, please let's also make welcome the representative of the Director General of NICO. Please let's welcome Mr. Odon Kenneth for the goodwill message. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my Executive Secretary, Otumba Ajiboye Biodun, I stand here very, very grateful and very, very happy to be part of this event or festival, I'll call it. I say so because our own organization is an institute, a cultural institute. That is why it's called National Institute for Cultural Orientation. All we do is culture, and we have a school, and whatever you teach there is Nigerian culture, generally. So we publish too. We publish books on culture. So the art of reading, we publish it. Nobody underestimates the importance of books. It is the core, the storage of human ideas, human imagination, and creativity. And the National Institute of Cultural Orientation will continually support IPAFest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words. Please, a round of applause again. A round of applause. Please, once again, I want to appeal. If you see any empty seats in front of you, kindly fill it up so that we can have a more compact session. So right about now, we've been having talks, but this time around let's switch things up a little bit. So right about now, we're going to be having a poetry performance by the one